Hi, folks. The purpose of this video is to walk you through your synthesis workshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through all three parts here. And you'll notice here in this week's module, I'm going to have this tutorial here for you. And then you've got parts 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's jump into part 1 here. So the purpose here, this activity, the purpose of it is to teach skills that are going to be useful for your upcoming synthesis essay, as well as for English 102 next semester, and then your classes beyond that you take in college. So you're going to learn how to identify key points in a debate, how to recognize and evaluate different perspectives on those key points, and then, pretty importantly, how to organize your argument by topic rather than source. And we had talked about this idea in the synthesis chart overview, but this is the most common mistake that first-year writers make is organizing an argument by topic, or I'm sorry, by organizing an argument by source rather than topic. So you want to organize your argument by idea and topic. You do not want to organize it by source because that's an external way of organizing things that doesn't give you much room for original thought. So make sure that you're organizing your argument by topic and idea and not by source. And this helps you do that. So I think you'll understand that as you get through it a little bit. First things first, to read these articles, you do need to be signed into your EKU account. So these forward you to the library, actually to the opposing viewpoints database. But make sure you're logged into your EKU account or it won't allow you to access and download that database. So just important note there. And you'll notice here you've got your group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. And so here are the groups here. If you want to know what group you're in, here are the students in each group. So group 1 is going to focus on the Rodriguez article. Group 2 is going to focus on the Koblenz article. Group 3 is going to focus on Piracy Design Act would threaten the fashion industry, right? And group 4 is going to focus on the Sanchez article about fashion designers not needing to copyright protection. So you can see each group has their own article they're going to focus on here. And the entire class, we're all going to work together in one shared document here. So first things first, you want to read your assigned article. Let's say that I am Logan. And so I'm Logan. I see that I'm in group 4 here. So I am going to focus on the Sanchez article. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read my assigned article. After that, I'm going to collaborate with my group members to fill in my group's portion of the worksheet here that we'll look at. So something help you out here, I recommend taking notes as you read and then working with your group members. You can do this synchronously, in other words, at the same time, if you want to set up a meeting virtually, or if you want to do it asynchronously, where you can just kind of share comments or emails or however you want to communicate. So you can do it either way, but you want to create an outline from your notes. At the bare minimum, your group wants to identify here's the main things you're going to focus on. The bare minimum, focus on identifying your article's thesis. So again, I'm pretending that I'm Logan here. I'm in group 4. My group, Logan, Madison, and I, we are working together on identifying the thesis of the Sanchez article, the main points of the Sanchez article, and the supporting evidence given for those main points for that Sanchez article. So this is a little bit of a step, a little bit of an expansion or a step further on the group reading assignments. It's a collaboration that's not just between you and your group, but it's actually a collaboration between you and your group and the entire class. So jot down whatever points you feel are important to understanding the article, adding to what your fellow group members have written. So, and this is an important idea as you think about this. So other groups should be able to grasp your article's contents just by reading your group's outline. So that's your focus. You want someone that has not read this article to understand the article's contents just by reading your group's outline. So that's a good rule of thumb to keep in mind. So let's take a look at what this is gonna look like. So first things first, let's say I'm in group 4, I'm Logan here. So I'm gonna click on the shared note worksheet. I've already read the article, right? And so group 4 is the Sanchez article here. So I'm going to focus on the Sanchez article, right? And let me make sure I'm getting that right. Yes. Group 4, Sanchez, yes. So that's what I want to focus on. As a matter of fact, I will write this on the sheet as well to make it more clear. So I want to work with my group members. And again, the things I want to focus on identifying the thesis, the main points, and the supporting evidence. And I'll actually add that explanation there at the top so you can see that as you're working. But what is this article? You know, I'm working with my group members, my other folks in group 4. What are the what's the thesis? What are the main points? And what's the supporting evidence that backs up each of those supporting points? That's what I'm doing. So that is your focus for step 1 there. And so part 1, that's what you're going to work on. And so you can see the deadline here this is 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday. So we want to meet that deadline because the next part builds on this. So let's take a look at the next step together. So moving on to part 2. Part 2 is due Wednesday. So pretty quick turnaround here. Here's what part 2 looks like. So for this portion, it would be helpful to work with your group members directly, whether you do a virtual meeting or however you choose to do it, text messaging, email, a shared Google Doc maybe that you're working on together to communicate. But you want to make sure you communicate because this does require close collaboration for this step. So you've got the first workshop is complete and has been finished by all groups. You're going to use that outline to complete your group's copy of part 2 of the worksheet. So first things first, you want to click on the classes folder here, which we'll do in a moment, that is linked, and you are going to find your individual document labeled for each specific group. So the instructions here, what you're up to, you're going to review the outlines from the class reading notes worksheet. That's what we did in part 1. You're going to identify the 5 or 10 topics or themes that are held in common between most of them. So most of the articles, right? You should decide these together as a group using whatever communication method you decided, and you want to list these topics and themes in the left-hand column of this lit matrix worksheet that we're going to look at. You want to use that grid to break down each article's stance on the topic. Basically, evidence from article, A connects to topic 1 should go in the corresponding cell on that grid, and I'll show you that. But you want to do that for each topic. And so every article will address every single theme that you identify. So I'm sorry, I should say every article should, but there may be some gaps. All right, so let's take a look here, the class folder. Let's say I'm in group 1. I've looked at the chart here and say I'm Alex, I'm in group 1. So I'm going to click on the group 1 document and I'm going to work with my group. And so I'm going to use this. This has been completed now by all the groups. So I'm looking at every group has their thesis, their main points, their supporting evidence. So I'm looking together with my other folks in my group. And you can see group 1 here. This is here's the folks that are in group 1. Want to make sure you're in the right document. So common topics and themes, right? So what are the common topics that you see here, right? So you want to fill this out. So again, looking back, you can see you got the Rodriguez article, the Kablentz, the Sanchez, and then it gets to Rostelia. And what are the common topics and themes? So you're going to list first the topics and themes in that left-hand column. So here's where you list the topics or themes, right? You're listing what they are that are held in common, right? So those ideas are listed here, just the general topics and themes that are held in common between these 4 articles. And how are you finding that? You're looking at this document that we did for part 1, right? That's completed by everybody. And so then the second thing that you're doing, you're going to use the grid to break down each article's stance on each topic, right? So for say you've identified I'm just going to use, I'm going to use a generic example here. Let's pretend that we were doing this about global warming, right? And let's say that all these articles dealt with global warming, and obviously they don't at all. But say one common theme that came up was that climate damage to the ocean is let's just be really general here. So climate change has damaged the ocean, period. that's the topic or theme, right? So then we want to get into and summarize, what does Rodriguez' article say about how in particular the ocean is damaged uh, from climate change? How does this article relate to that? How does the Sanchez article relate to that? And finally, the fourth article. So you're going through and you're breaking down for that general topic and theme what each article's take is on it. So what's the article's stance? What does it say about it, right? So that is what you are doing there. And again, you're just you're getting your information. You have only read one article, but you're getting the thesis, the main ideas, and the supporting evidence from your part one here. And so really, this is just going to start with you looking at the main ideas, the thesis, and the supporting evidence in all four and kind of figuring out with your group, okay, what are the common ideas here, right? What themes and ideas are coming up across all four, right? And then you're just going in and listing them, right? And then your second step is to go through, okay, what's this article's stance on this idea? What's this article's stance on it? What's this article's stance? What's this article's stance? So that is the gist of it, folks. That is how you want to go about this for part two. Next, after you've done part one and part two, you want to move on to part three. And part three is a little different. It is due Wednesday. Honestly, if you turn this in before Thursday, that's fine. I just want to give you more time for your first draft Friday, but the technical deadline is Wednesday here. So this is part three. This part's going to be a little bit briefer. This part you do by yourself, so you won't work in groups for this part. What you're going to do is you're going to use the material that your group produced for the first two parts of the workshops, right? So you've got this one, part one, that's completed by everyone, and then part two that's completed by everyone in the class. And you're going to use that to do part three. So what you're going to do, it's pretty straightforward. Using that material, you're going to compose 1 to 2 paragraphs of synthesis that's completely original, your own ideas, just as you would for a synthesis essay. Make sure your paragraphs are each total 6 sentences minimum, and make sure that your paragraphs discuss the debate taking place between the 4 assigned texts. You can deliver what you believe to be an accurate summary of the debate from all sides, or you can take a stance on the issue and bring the ideas of the articles in to back up your stance. So your paragraph must cite all 4 of the assigned text at least once. So that is the gist of that. You'll submit this right here in the text box for this article as a document file, or you can put it in the text here. Either's fine. So here is an example of what one paragraph would look like. So folks, that is part 1, 2, and 3. And if you have questions beyond this, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. This is going to require some close collaboration with your groups, so you'll want to decide the best way to communicate with each other. All right, thanks.